Hello, everybody. We are back. I am here with a friend of mine named Danan Coleman. He is the founder of Ecom Triage, and he is coming to this call to give us some expertise, some value, and possibly some skill set that could possibly help you with your Amazon brand. The topic today is reviews. As you know, one-star review can absolutely destroy you, and especially if it's complemented with 2 or 3. And there's a lot of tactics out there that are kind of dirty, a little shady, that can sometimes where people essentially get paid to kind of leave reviews against their competitors. And you need people like this to look under the hood and find out. So let's get started. So Danan, please give me an intro. Tell me about yourself. How did you get into this? And tell me about how you got into e-commerce. Bring us up to speed.
All right, cool. So I'll start off. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show, Eric. I appreciate it. And love the background back there. Good to see the guitars. Love to see them on the wall. But so yeah, how did I get into e-commerce? So really long story and crazy story short, I had an accident. I was incapacitated, stuck in a wheelchair, and then stuck on a couch and stuff like that. And I had to figure out how to make money. So back in 2010 is when I got into Amazon and I started selling supplements. And at that time, if I made $500 in profit, then that was a win. That prevented me from having to file for medical bankruptcy. That is exactly what happened. We were just making it every single month. And then within about a year or so, I think we 10x'd the business and then just had a 20% increase just year over year after that. Wow. And so that's how I got started in Amazon. So I'm a 15-year veteran seller on Amazon. I'm still an active seller today. And I've been in the software space for 7 years, helping bring products to market and doing strategic partnerships with Amazon companies and e-com companies in the space. And then I started my own company really just about a year ago now, but didn't actually fully launch it until January of this year. But I have years and years and years of experience dealing with Amazon's intricacies and cases and just all the stuff that has to do with working with Amazon. I've seen quite a bit of it, both on the seller side and the developer side, and just the different things you run into. So for the last year and some change, I've been testing review removal and really got fully organized into a business last year. I helped scale another company in the space that does review removal, and then moved on to do it with my own company and my own methods. And so that's where I'm at today. I've got TOS compliant negative review removal for brands that have issues, which you all do, and catalog monitoring for times when Amazon makes changes and you're not aware of it. So we monitor for over 20 different critical changes that are made without your knowledge. There's no notification, and you just see it in your sales numbers, or you might just see it as little death by 1,000 cuts. So we monitor all those things so that you can fix them immediately. That's called Catalog Defender. And then just generally, I'm a consultant in the space. I don't really charge for my consultation. It's any clients that come along my way, I also just ask them, hey, what else do you need? Well, how else can I help you? Because I've got a monstrous network in the Amazon space, and I can just introduce you to someone that has the solution, ideally.
That's awesome. First of all, I want to say is it's very rare that I speak to somebody that's been doing Amazon longer than I have. So 15 years, that's wow. Yeah. That takes us back to 2010. That's definitely the wild, wild west on Amazon.
Dude, it was so easy. So today you need to do a really good listing. You have to have a great launch strategy. You need to do off Amazon. You need to do on Amazon PPC, and you need to do Vine, and you need to do black hat, gray hat, white hat tactics to launch a product. In 2010, you needed an image, and then you just rolled. Man, if you had a good picture of your product, you made money.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's so true. Because today it's all about it's and this and
Yeah.
that and the barrier to enter is so much greater than it was back then. I always think about if I was to have started back in 2008, I could have been the first person to sell toilet paper or something just
Yeah.
so common. That's
Yes.
that's that's wild. I actually didn't know that story. So I definitely appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that. Now, our main focus today is going to be the refund, the return. Excuse me. I did want to give one call out to the service you talked about, the Catalog Defender. Let's
Yeah.
just go over that real quick and talk about the 20 things that you watch for, how it works, how it just kind of. I just want to make sure to give that a little bit of love,
Sure.
and then we can get back into the reviews.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, putting me on the spot here, I literally can never remember all 20 of them, but the most critical ones are orphaned ASINs, so child ASINs that get split away from the parent and you don't know it, but you lose those reviews. And, if you're running ads to the parent and child ASINs, you're no longer running ads to that particular variation because now it's its own parent ASIN. Split reviews, buy box loss, buy box unqualified, category inconsistencies on parent-child relationships. What else do we do? I mean, there's obviously page not found, title changes, bullet changes. If you have too few bullet points, or if you're missing Amazon A+ content, you have duplicate images. We've got a change log where we track when we detect an issue as being a problem and when we detected that it was resolved, so that you can kind of keep track of how long did it take to fix this thing. And when it comes to the monitoring, I mean, we are monitoring tens of thousands of ASINs right now, but you can augment how often you want to check each ASIN. So we can check one ASIN 24 times a day and another one once a week. If it's only responsible for 1% of your revenue and the other ASIN's responsible for 99, well, you want to check that every hour because that's ultra important to you. But we realize that not everything's a hero ASIN, so you can mitigate your not just the checks but also what the cost is, and the cost is unbelievably inexpensive compared to what it saves you.
What
It's not
what
even
is the
expensive.
cost? Since we're talking about it.
At the most, it's 50 cents an ASIN per month. Now,
Wow.
yeah, but we do have a $50 minimum. This was built
Okay.
for larger catalogs, right? So
Yeah.
we've got a minimum dollar amount, and I'm toying with the idea of doing a smaller barrier to entry for brands that only have 3 to 5 ASINs, 10 ASINs, something like that. But as you scale beyond 100 ASINs, the price goes down, and I can't remember exactly how many ASINs we're monitoring for someone. It's something like 27,000 ASINs, something
Wow.
like that. And you had unbelievably big seller. And they're at I think 9 cents an ASIN per month, something like that.
Wow. That is incredible. When it comes to the reporting, what are the options that you can get the reporting in?
So right now it's still in Google Sheets, but we're right in the middle of building a dashboard where you can log in, you can filter by brand, you can filter by so you can do user level permissions, so certain users can only see certain brands, because this was built for big brands or for agencies. So for instance, you have clients, you may want to give your client access to this but not see all of your other clients. So that's one of the things we're building. But it'll be, the way it is one dashboard, all your ASINs, filterable if you want. It's filterable, and I suggest this, by critical issue. So the hierarchy is, the lower the BSR, we assume it makes the most sales. So that's going to be up at the top, and then you just filter on ASINs that have critical issues, and then you can just look across the columns and see what's the issue, and then assign it to someone and get it resolved. And we don't do issue resolution, but we have partners in the space that do, and that we can refer you to. But one thing we also do, though, is we provide, depending on the issue, we actually provide a template pre-filled out, which we've developed based on aggregated data from our clients that said, hey, this is what I sent in and this is what worked.
Wow.
Because
That's
one
awesome.
thing that seller support doesn't tell you is what you need to tell them to fix an issue, and they never will. You have to magically know.
Absolutely. That's the the riddle of Amazon account health is truly the most upsetting and humorous experience. It actually leads to where no responsibility can be taken because you're essentially guessing to what they want to hear instead
Yeah.
of them actually telling you what you did wrong, so you can actually take responsibility. It's
Yeah.
it's done in a way that, in my opinion, is illogical and doesn't make sense, and it's an absolute nightmare.
100%.
So having historical data of what has worked is very important. I did have a surprise for you that I wanted to show you this, and
Okay.
this goes hand in hand with your catalog defender
Okay.
regarding orphaned ASINs. So this is a new rollout that's coming out that was just sent to me by a brand I work with. It's just called the removal of irrelevant variation themes will start September 2nd. And so it says we will remove variation themes from our product templates that aren't relevant or frequently used to simplify your listing experience. We've already marked the impacted themes as deprecated, do not use in the product template variation theme name field. If you try to update a listing with a deprecated variation theme, you'll receive an error message that states the value specified is invalid. So what does this mean? This means that you need to go onto Amazon because you have nothing better to do, and you need to pull all of the catalog reports, and you need to see if the variation theme that you're using is deprecated. And if you don't, then it is possible that you might end up with orphaned ASINs, which uh, if you come back, you had a great weekend, it's Monday, and you have your red, green, and blue, and sales are going well. You look at your sales; they're down by 50%. You go on Amazon, and your variation is broken up. This could be why. And without something letting you know, the longer that it goes on for, the worse the impact.
Wow. Yeah. So, and this is 3 days ago that they released this. And
We
so,
we yeah.
what, 10 days before? No. So, yeah. Like 10 days. They basically are giving you 10 days notice that over the next 30 days, they're going to roll this out nationwide,
Yeah.
leave it
And
to
yeah.
Amazon to say, "Hey, we're going to we're going to do something because it matters to like true. This is going to screw over a lot of people."
Yeah. And we work in the industry, and we go on Amazon every day. I didn't even know about this. A
Yeah,
brand I work with brought this to my attention, and the changes are happening so fast with the birth of AI becoming so commonly used this year. The technology is starting to roll out faster. The changes are happening faster, and this is just the beginning. You need to keep your ear to the ground because the changes are just going to keep coming. And this
yeah,
is just one example of why you need something to alert you if something does happen to your listing.
yeah, absolutely. And another thing that Amazon's rolling out, I believe, I'm not sure if it's still in beta. I think it's in beta right now. You'd think I'd know the answer to this. I literally just did a live stream on it today, a couple hours ago. But is seller assistant, an AI seller assistant, and it's going to make suggestions on how to do bids and create simple initial listings for you and stuff like that. Like a bunch of stuff where it's like, if there was one entity that I would wholly distrust to do a good job on my Amazon account, it's Amazon.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I meet with an ad rep all the time, and they say, we believe, based on our data, that you should do yada, yada. And I ask one question. I say, I don't mind doing this, but could you please tell me the KPI that it improves? And they tell me nothing.
Yeah, they tell you nothing, but what they're silently saying is the KPI approves the amount of money you spend on ads, of course. Our KPI.
That is the only thing that the ad rep cares about is ad spend.
Yeah, I'm sure that's their job.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not to actually help you, it's to get you to spend money.
yeah. Absolutely. It's a wild place. And when you're new to Amazon and Amazon reaches out to you, you get all excited.
Yeah.
But you have to, specifically the ad rep, you really need to take everything they say with a grain of salt, because their objective is definitely to spend more money, specifically your money, and the results are not entirely what they are after. They don't care if you have 100% tacos, they don't care if you have 100% ACOS. We did a campaign that they asked us to do. It was a TV program. It was a TV beta. They did Amazon TV or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
Fire TV.
to this point, I have yet to see a campaign with a comma on the ACOS, and this one took the ACOS to 1,000%. And we had to spend a certain amount. We had to leave it on for a certain amount per the agreement, and it was probably the worst performing.
This was when you had to spend at least 30 grand, wasn't it?
It was, and what you got in from them was, I think it was like a good AI video or a series of videos, something to that effect, but definitely nothing that was in the range of 25 to 30,000. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I remember when they did that, and that program's been renamed several times since, and now, if I remember correctly, it's called Amazon Marketing Cloud.
Well, you have to change the name. It's a lot like when you have an ingredient that just gets a bad name. Next thing you know is they resell it with something else, because the marketing has been it's gotten destroyed. It's lost its trust.
Absolutely, it's not sugar; it's sucralose. That's a totally different thing. You know,
right?
It's not a Land Rover Discovery 3. It's a Land Rover LR3, which is actually what I own, and that's exactly what Land Rover did. Total random side story. The reason the LR3 and the LR4 are called LR3 and LR4 is because the Discovery 2 was such a trash heap that it soiled the Discovery name. Everywhere else in the world, it's a Discovery, but in America, it's LR3, LR4, and then it's not LR5, it's the Discovery 5.
It's marketing at its best.
Absolutely. So yeah, basically, Amazon's job is to make you spend money on Amazon so that Amazon makes money. They're not there to help you. Don't get me wrong, there are helpful people. I have met many individuals that work at Amazon. They have been wonderful people. As a company, though, their job is not to make you money. It's to make their investors money.
Absolutely. I got a data point here. It says that in 2024, advertising revenue was $56.2 billion. And I can tell you now that they would like to see that reach 60 to 70 in 2025. Yeah. And those phone calls are directly related with that KPI right there.
Totally. Yeah. So another random story just on how things kind of go. My wife and I, once upon a time, we were, do you remember Yelp?
Yep.
Yeah. So Yelp, in America, we used it for reviewing companies. It was actually around the same time that Google Maps started doing reviews, but it had a lot more traction. And so my wife and I were the top 2 Yelpers in all of Tampa Bay and up there in Florida as a whole. And we became like, I forgot what they call them, but like leaders, and we could have our own events and stuff like that. And then Yelp went public, and they hired salespeople to reach out to all the businesses. And I actually did an 18-month test with them on a business that I did for my buddy. And when I started paying for ads, you saw a doubling of the traffic. There was no attributable increase in revenue. And when I stopped the ads, so I had 6 months data, 6 months ads, and then 6 months back to normal, it was half the traffic of my organic traffic before I started the ads campaign. So make no mistake, when someone's helping you to create your ads account, their job is to make money. It's not an excuse to not learn how to run ads. You need to know how to run your ads, and you need to know how to be profitable with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we definitely went down a segue here and definitely touched on a lot of great data. But today's talk is about reviews, so I think we should definitely get into it. Go ahead and tell me just kind of a basic understanding of some of the dirty things people do, the things that you guys look for, how you guys approach this, and the results you guys are getting.
All right. I'm actually going to start off by just showing you a few. I literally, in the 15 minutes before we got on this podcast, I put this together. So
I
these are
love it.
just a few screenshots that I've taken. This is not organized in any way, but some of the stuff that people say can be subject for removal. Number one, we had to have her euthanized, and the title is please read before buying. Really, really long. There's stuff in here like we found 26 ingredients that could cause bleeding. Like these are alarming statements, right?
What kind of product was this? Just
This is a dog product.
a dog product. Okay.
Yeah. Luckily, this was not a human product, but still, it says determined that Caddy had microbleeds in her stomach and possibly in her intestines. We had to have her euthanized. Don't go off positive reviews that have been posted by others. So there's a few things here in this particular review. It's a 1-star. They don't say who their name is. They make these super alarming statements. It's got a whole bunch of helpful votes, and this is kind of par for the course. Most negative reviews don't get helpful votes. But when you see these super alarming ones and they've got a bunch, that's suspicious. So you don't know who the customer is. They make really alarming statements. It's got a whole bunch of votes. And if you looked into the Amazon customer by actually clicking on their name, it would a lot of times when it's just Amazon customer, not a name, they hide their reviews. So that's one thing that I'm looking for. Another thing when I'm looking in, so this, let's say this is the same customer. It's not, but when you click into their account, so this is Tina, right? You click into their account, the only reviews they've ever done are these 5. And it said, killed our friends, causes death, causes death, causes death.
Can you zoom in a little bit so we can see that a little closer?
Let's see. Can I? I can probably.
There we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's going to cut off a little bit, but every single one of these says that it kills people, right? Now, these are 5 different brands. So, like, well, how many of your friends died? And they all bought different ones of these, and they're all dead. It's like, these are the only reviews this account has ever done, and every single one of them makes a majorly alarming statement that it literally kills people. That's
an interesting. If I could just say something on that.
Yeah.
That is probably the worst thing you could possibly say. I don't know what the product is, but if you put that review on pretty much, I just say anything,
Yeah.
Amazon's going to say maybe there's something wrong with the product.
Right.
maybe there's a lawsuit here. Maybe there's something, and we could be at risk, and so we're probably going to immediately suspend this product with the mystery account health situation, which the first thing to do when you do get one of these is to check the reviews. And if you get something that says something is murdering people, that is a good place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all know that Amazon shoots first and doesn't ask any questions at all, so you just wake up and one day your account's suspended, So here's another example, and I'll make this larger, and if I can, and drag this around. Oh, great. That just made it really annoying. Oh, well. So if you look at this one, every single review starts off with don't waste ... Now Amazon cuts it off, but I opened every single one of these reviews on this account. They all had precisely the same title. It says, don't waste your money. Right? That's what the title says. On all, what's this? This is 12 reviews. On all 12 of these reviews. And what you also see is you got 1, 2, 3 beauty products, 2 baby products. It's actually 3, but these are onesies, right? And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cups, like Stanley cups. Now, and then 1 random protein bar here. So here's what I saw on this. When I opened up each one of these reviews is that every time for each batch of products, they were within 1 week of each other, but the next batch of products was like 2 or 3 months later. So there are companies out there that rotate through these legitimate buyer accounts and leave these negative reviews and then rotate to some other account. So I just happen to have, I mean, if I've gone through 100,000 negative reviews, it wouldn't surprise me. And it's probably even more. I've probably looked at, yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. I've seen a lot of reviews. I find a lot of stuff on Amazon, right? And yeah, so these are a few of the things that we look for. And
That's pretty dirty, by the way. That's pretty dirty.
oh, for sure. Yeah. But dude, we see the craziest stuff, you know, like here's the bottom line, people, is that you can go onto, I'm not going to tell you what site, but there's some sites out there that you can go onto and you can pay somebody $20 to $30 to leave a negative review on your competitor. Now, if you're vying for page 1, position 3, position 5, whatever it is, and you're in position 8, and you can spend $1,000 to 100 people to leave negative reviews on your competitors and just push them down a notch, a few notches, right? And you take that position, depending on your category and all bunch of other stuff, that could be worth $10,000 a day in revenue. So all ethics and morals aside, laws aside, that is a financially sound investment, is to screw your competitor so that you can take their position, right? So in a race, that would be, in a motorcycle race, that would be, you know, reach as you're passing someone, reaching over and grabbing their front brake and causing them to crash, right? It's exactly what's happening. So this is a visual representation of exactly that thing. We're looking at July 7th. This is this year, everybody, by the way. So we're looking at July 7th, 8th, 9th. We're sitting pretty at a 4.3 star rating. This company's doing really well because they haven't lost that half star. If you're at a 4.3, you display 4.5 stars. If you're at a 4.2, you display 4 stars. And that's worth 25 to 50% of your sales velocity, by the way. Then we look at, so July 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 5 days, 6 days, let's call it. You go from a 4.3 to a 3.8. This green graph right here, that's your BSR, right? Your BSR goes from the 500s and starts, maybe, is that right? No, that's not right. The BSR graph is on the other side. But basically, you are spiking way up on BSR. Basically, what that means is Amazon's no longer displaying you, or displaying you a lot less when it comes to your search velocity. And at the end of the day, first of all, going 4.3 to 3.8, that kills your brand, kills it right there. But you'll still make sales, right? But it's your brand's basically dead. But you now have to spend a ton more money in order to get placement. Now I've actually removed, since I took this screenshot, I've removed 14 negative reviews for this client so far. So this was a hardcore attack. I've never seen one this bad or good, depending on who you are. But we're talking like they got 50, 60 reviews, something like that were all these 1 stars. Every one of them was fraudulent based on a YouTube video and screenshots of the YouTube video. And I'm working on it, but so I'm trying to salvage this brand. But you know, we all know dealing with Amazon is not our best time.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. All right, let me turn this around for you a little bit. Let me show you what happens when you go from a low star rating. So this is a 4.1, 4.0, and this one went up to a 4.4. This is another client of mine, okay? So the BSR went from the 1500 range down to like 190, 200, something like that. The scale on this graph is a little off. So, but basically went down by a factor of, let's call it 8, went down by 800. And the difference between their star rating is just, I'm sorry, this is a 4.2 to 4.3, this dark green line. lost track of my numbers because there's so many different stats on this, but it went from a 4.2 to a 4.3. And you see that basically there's a date coincident drop in the BSR, and then it starts going down from there. So this is what's possible, right? Here's another one that went from a 4.5 to a 4.6. And so it was at a 4.6. It dropped down permanently to a 4.5. And you see that BSR start climbing up. And it went from like the 4,000 range to the 13, 14,000 range, right? And then we get some reviews getting removed for them, and they pop back up to a 4.6 star rating over here. But as we're removing reviews, you start seeing that BSR come down, and then it's much closer to the range it was in by the time it's popped up to a 4.6. So I'm not going to show you any more of that. I just wanted you guys to basically see what I look for. What I do for brands is I remove negative reviews that violate Amazon's terms of service. It's that simple. It's a pay for performance model, so you only pay for the reviews that get removed, and it's hyper effective. So every negative review that I get removed is worth as much as, and sometimes more, but roughly 10 5-star reviews. So, Eric, what would it cost for one of your brands to acquire 10 5-star written reviews?
Well, we know that is a trick question.
Yeah.
So the answer is there is no amount of money, because that would violate Amazon's terms of service, and we don't do that. So the answer is it's very difficult. I will say that there is a metric. I think it's like 1 or 2% of all sales lead to a review.
Yeah.
So for every 100, you get one, and sometimes it's even lower. It depends upon the emotional connection with that product.
Yeah.
But yeah, getting rid of a 1-star is absolutely priceless. There was a story I wanted to bring up while you were talking, which probably one of the dirtiest things that I have heard of happening to somebody. And what they did was, I hope nobody does this to anybody, but I heard this from a seller, and it almost brought tears to my eyes. But somebody went into one of these free review groups that you should never be using.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, that's not a slap on the wrist. It is an account suspension immediately. It's a big no-no. Anyway,
and Amazon started taking legal action against those groups too, by the way.
I heard about that. Yep. So what they did is they went into one of these groups and they promised to give away this product for reviews, and then never gave away the product, and got all these people really angry and riled up, and they all left very bad reviews. I know they're not verified purchases, but it definitely had a very negative impact on his listing. And it really caused a lot of bad sentiment around his product. And that is incredibly dirty to pretend like it's your product for the purpose of getting fake reviews that violates TOS, and then not actually coming through and getting everybody excited. It was pretty brutal. And he showed me the listing, and he was in the 3 stars, and it was pretty bad.
Yeah. It's literally that easy to just smash your competition. And it's really unfortunate too, because it's taken me a lot of months for sure, but a couple of years of testing and acquiring emails and LinkedIn contacts, and just having to go, like, basically when we started this, we had 19 different entities within Amazon that we could work with to get reviews removed. It's down to 9.
Wow.
And that's in the course of 12 months. And now they are hiding reviews. So those of you recently have noticed that brand owners, you notice that you can only see the last 100 reviews for each star rating. They hide the rest. So that means I have to go searching for them, right? Then after that, not only did they hide the reviews, but they made it so that you had to be logged into an Amazon account so that they could track your actions, but you had to be logged into an Amazon account in order to even see the reviews. And Amazon takes action all the time from scrapers. So they're blocking ChatGPT from looking at stuff. They won't let anyhow, there's lots that Amazon does to prevent anybody from actually seeing the real data. And, those of you recently may have heard that you now no longer have to leave a reason for a negative review on seller feedback. They used to require that. And it was also quite easy to get incorrect seller feedback removed. Well, that does not exist when it comes to product reviews. It is a massive, massive pain in the butt to get reviews removed, even for me. And that's all I do. So anyhow, Eric, I can get on a soapbox and I can go to town because I have a lot of animosity with Amazon, but it's a love-hate relationship.
Absolutely. Well, whenever you're talking about a lot of money, it's emotional, and reviews can be the biggest failure or the greatest success of a product. One thing you did say early on, which we didn't really talk about, was white hat. And I think that's important that people know that this service is 100% white hat.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Can you give some information on that?
Yeah, so basically what we're doing is we're using Amazon's existing avenues to report reviews and explain to them why it should be removed. Now, as a seller, this is a simple thing to do. It's easier for me because I don't put any emotion into my cases, and neither should you, by the way. It doesn't matter how it makes you feel. Keep all emotion out. Amazon doesn't care how you feel. All right. They don't care about you at all as a corporation. So you have to be like support. Be totally unhelpful to them. Just give them the information that they need and tell them what to do. That's how your case needs to be written.
Yeah.
Any
really
case.
Funny. Yeah. I will tell you a little anecdote with that. Working, I tell every brand owner, don't do your own customer service. And the reason being is because it's very personal to you. You put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Years went into the development. And when somebody says something negative about your product, it really hits you to the core. And staying emotionless and keeping your head on a swivel can be a bit difficult in those situations. And so when you're talking, like you were just saying, like you need somebody who can stay analytical and stay impartial, leave the emotion out of the conversation. First of all, you're not talking to Jeff Bezos himself, and you are also not the brand yourself. You're trying to solve a problem, stay on course, and don't lose sight of what you're trying to accomplish, regardless of what they say. You have to have I would say, thick skin.
Yeah.
And so we're getting to the end of our call. I do want to thank you for joining. Now, I want to do something for people if they find you through our show. What can we do to get? How can they find you? What can we do to connect you with somebody who's listening that might want to use your service?
Yeah. So Ecom Triage is the name of my company. I'm Danan Coleman, so you can find me on LinkedIn. Although admittedly, I'm not that great on LinkedIn, but I am there. And eventually you should get a response from me. So the best way to get a hold of me really is just to email me, Danan at dananenterprises.com or Danan at Ecom Triage. So that's anyone that's listened to this. If you say, hey, I heard you on Eric's show, first of all, book a call with me. And I'll do a free audit of your reviews and give you 30 minutes, basically a 30-minute free consultation on how many reviews I think can be removed, and any other time that we have after the review stuff. I'll always ask you, is there any other way I can help you? So I'm not just in this business to make money. I'm in it. Like, we all have to make money. Okay. I'm also a seller on Amazon. So you got to make money on Amazon, even though Amazon steals as much as possible. But I'm doing this business to try to help salvage brands and prevent annihilation of your brand by completely illegitimate and unfair reviews that that affect your business. We all have lives. Many of us have families, children, and Amazon doesn't care about any of that when they suspend your account and you suddenly are no longer making $10,000 a week or a day or an hour. It doesn't really matter how much money you make. It doesn't. My first goal was $500 in profit per month, and that literally saved my bank account. It saved my home and my vehicle. My wife and I had no children at the time, thank God. We had no children at the time. We had a small house and like $3,000 left on a loan on a piece of crap truck that I never should have purchased. Won't go into that. It was purple. I thought it was blue. I bought it at night. But yeah, look, I'm here to help. Okay. I've been in this industry a long time. I have a large network in the industry. I'm an active seller, so I'm in the trenches with you as well. But also due to my experience as a software provider, and being on the API side, the MWS side, the SP API, I have a lot of information, and I can help a lot of people and just shortcut a lot of things so that you don't have to spend the money to learn the hard lesson. And nobody else can remove reviews like I can. And look, if you can, good on you. I've spoken to a few people that have like, yeah, I got these reviews removed. I'm like, heck yeah, you don't need me. I'm not going to do any better than you. But those are really few and far between, and it's super time consuming. So anyhow,
absolutely. My personal experience with Danan, we essentially, when we're onboarding an Amazon brand, one of the first things that we do is we onboard them to the review removal. It's not something that they may need. It's something that every brand needs. And it's something that the payment structure is done on a performance basis. And so it's something that we just keep on all the time. It's essentially a layer of defense. We've been using it now for a year. It's been fantastic. And so I can't be happier with his service. Everything has been very straightforward and gotten great results for the brands that I work with.
Yeah, thanks.
Again, I'd like to thank you for coming to the podcast. I think it was very interesting. We touched on a lot of good stuff, and I hoped that we get the opportunity to do another one in the future.
Yeah, man, be happy to. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.